In this video, we are going to go over operations involving numbers that are written in scientific notation. So we're going to go over addition and subtraction because they are very, very similar in this video. So the basic rules for adding and subtracting numbers that are written in scientific notation, there's 4 steps that are on your screen. The first one is that you have to change one of the numbers to make the exponents the same. So if we have one number that is times 10 to the 4th, adding to another number that is times 10 to the 3rd, we have to change one of those numbers so that the exponents are both either 4 or both 3. Okay? Once your exponents are the same by changing one of the coefficients, we are going to then add the coefficients. Once you've added those, it's just simple math, right? We are going to combine that coefficient that you got with the shared exponent. Okay, and it'll make more sense when we get to the example problem on the next slide. Once you've done that, then you just have to check and make sure that your new number fits the scientific notation rules, meaning there's only one digit to the left of the decimal between 1 and 9. So as you are changing that, then you might also then have to change the exponent, but your final answer can only have one digit between 1 and 9 to the left of the decimal. Now up in this blue box are some very important tips for you to make an exponent smaller. So this is going to mostly help you with step number 1. If you need to make an exponent smaller, you need to determine how many values smaller it needs to be. Let's say that the exponent is 4 and you need to make it into a 3. So you are decreasing the exponent by one value, then you are going to move the decimal on the coefficient to the right one space. If you need to make the exponent 2 values smaller, so from a 4 to a 2, then you are going to then move the decimal on the coefficient 2 spaces to the right. Okay? And then the opposite on the other hand, right? If we need to make the exponent larger, then you are going to then move the decimal that many spaces to the left. So if we need to increase the exponent by 3 values, so from 1 to 4, then we need to move the decimal on the coefficient 3 spaces to the left. Okay, so let's try an example problem. I'm going to keep that blue box up on the screen because that's going to be very helpful. So my example problem, I have 1.5 times 10 to the 2nd plus 5.3 times 10 to the 4th. The first step was that we need to change the exponents to be the same. So we're going to pick one of those numbers and we are going to change it so that the exponent matches that of the other number. So I chose to change the 5.3 times 10 to the 4th and get that exponent of 4 to be a 2 instead. And since I'm trying to make the exponent smaller, I am moving the decimal to the right. So if I'm going from a 4 to a 2, I am decreasing that exponent 2 values, which means I need to move the decimal 2 spaces to the right. So in this area here, you can see I moved the decimal 2 spaces to the right. So now the decimal is right here, and I fill this empty space with a 0. So this 5.3 times 10 to the 4th has been changed into 530 times 10 to the 2nd. The next step was then to add the coefficients. So I'm going to add 530 and 1.5 to get my new coefficient of 531.5. You're then going to combine that with the new common exponent. So we have the common exponent of times 10 to the 2nd. So this is our answer right now. Step 4 was then to check and make sure that your answer matches and fits the scientific notation rules. You can only have one value to the left of the decimal between 1 and 9. Right now, I have 3 numbers to the left of the decimal. That's too many. We need to move this decimal so that there is only 1. And as we move the decimal, we are going to change this exponent. To help you, you can look at these tips up here backwards. So if we are going to move this decimal 2 spaces to the left, that means that we are going to make the exponent 2 values larger. Okay, so if I move that decimal 2 spaces to the left, I am going to increase the exponent 2 values. So now my coefficient matches the scientific notation rules, and I have a value of 5.315 times 10 to the fourth as my answer. Okay, subtraction is literally the same thing, except instead of adding the coefficients, you would subtract them. Otherwise, every single step is the exact same as what I just showed you. And that's how you add and subtract.